What is going on today, guys? My name's Alex. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm throwing you a little curveball. As you can see, we got a different truck here. This is not my Power Wagon, but instead, we have this Toyota Tacoma. It's a 2019, and it is the TRD Off-Road Edition. So we are going to get under the truck, show you guys the guts, and most importantly, show you guys why this thing is actually a very cool off-road vehicle. And then once we go under the truck, give you a nice review of all the componentry. We'll take this thing off-road and show you guys how it does. Now, I will say the Power Wagon obviously is a much more capable off-road truck. However, this thing packs a punch and has some advantages that my Power Wagon doesn't have. So let's get underneath and show you guys what's really going on here. You'll have to excuse me, the shop's a little dirty. We're putting in a fuel tank. Let's jump under the truck. If you guys have been following the channel for a little bit, you know that I like to kind of do these types of reviews where I get underneath the truck and really kind of show you guys all the guts and the componentry and what makes this truck special in comparison to the standard model and all the cool off-road features. Now, if you guys are looking for appearance packages and electronic options, not the place. Because in my opinion, that's not what makes a truck a good truck. All right, so first up, we have a 2-inch receiver here. This truck can tow up to 6,800 pounds with a max payload of 1,540 pounds. Now, what's kind of funny is that my Power Wagon actually has a max payload of 1,530 pounds. So technically, this little truck here has 10 more pounds of payload than my Power Wagon. I don't know if that seems right. Like, my Power Wagon, the frame is much thicker, the axle is much stronger, but those are the rated numbers. So moving forward, we have the rear differential. This is a locking differential, which is awesome. The TRD Pro also has the same differential. The TRD Sport has a limited slip. So you are getting an upgrade with the differential when you get the TRD off-road package. Hopefully you guys can see that, but right there, that is your electrical connector into the diff, which locks it up, giving this truck lots of capability. A locking differential is awesome off-road. This differential has 391 gears, which is actually higher than what I thought it would be. 391 gears is actually pretty aggressive, and when you are off-road, it's going to allow you to transfer more torque to your wheels, which is always a good thing. Now, across from the differential, we have our Bilstein suspension. The TRD off-road package comes with Bilstein off-road tuned suspension, just giving you more comfort when you are off-road, which is, what the truck is designed for. So moving forward, we have a skid plate here, protect the gas tank. Although this seems plastic, not sure if I like that. Not really sure what the point of a plastic skid plate is. But anyways, moving up, we have a transfer case here. Now this is standard on all 4-wheel drive Toyota Tacomas with a low or 4-wheel drive low ratio of 2.57. Basically meaning when you're in 4-wheel drive low, you'll have almost 2.5 times more torque to your wheels. Now, adding on to that, if you do the math, the final drive of this vehicle in 4-wheel drive low is 36-1. Now, that's not bad. My Power Wagon is 50-1. The Power Wagon is going to get more torque delivered to the wheels just because of the final drive ratio. Obviously, the higher the final drive, the more torque you're going to be able to deliver your wheels, which I mentioned earlier is good for off-road. Now, hooked up to the front of your transfer case, you have your 6-speed transmission. This truck comes with the 6-speed automatic, although pretty cool. Toyota will still offer a manual transmission, a manual 6-speed transmission with these trucks from factory, which is pretty cool. But for the automatics, your first 3 gears are underdrive, 1-to-1 is 4th gear, and then you have 2 overdrive gears with this 6-speed automatic. Now, moving up for your transmission, we finally have some metal skid plates, although not really sure how thick they are. However, they are metal, should do something. Up here we have our front differential. Now this is technically an open differential up here. However, what I'll get into later is the crawl option on these Tacomas. They say that all 4 wheels will get power, and I believe it because Toyota has some pretty cool off-road electronic aids, not necessarily mechanical. So I think this open diff is not necessarily a complete hindrance off-road. Now, once again up front here, we see the Bilstein off-road suspension. Pretty cool setup, which again is just gonna give you a nice comfortable ride off-road. And finally, continuing forward, we have some more skid plates, although it just doesn't, I don't know, it's not thick. Like, if you hit something at a good speed, like that's gonna dent that. Like, you know, my fist can almost dent that, let alone a rock. Now with the TRD off-road package, you do get some more, you know, tow hooks here to help you out with when you get stuck or if you get stuck, which is nice to have. Now, finally, as we're at the front of the vehicle here, you'll see that there is actually no front splitter. Now, the standard Tacoma will have a front splitter. The TRD Sport will have a front splitter. The TRD Off-Road and the Pro don't have a front splitter, obviously to help with ground clearance. You don't want that thing scraping and ripping off, you know, when you're off-road. The other cool thing about this off-road TRD is the fact that this front bumper here, or this portion of the front bumper, is not painted, you know, because I guess they assume that it's the off-road version, and you're probably going to be scraping this up. And you can see the owner has had a couple scrapes here. So we're out of the Dungy pit here, we're up top. So we have a V6 engine up here, 278 horsepower, 265 foot-pounds of torque. You know, not the fastest engine and not the most fuel-efficient engine in, you know, the mid-truck segment, if you will. But it's a Toyota, and they are known for reliability. So you can't really argue with that. These things will probably run, you know, for 300,000 miles if you treat them properly. So the internet says, so take that with a grain of salt. The other interesting part about this engine is the fuel economy. The standard Toyota Tacoma, as well as the TRD Sport, will run a combined 22 miles per gallon, whereas the TRD Off-Road and the TRD Pro run 20 miles per gallon. So you're gonna lose a little bit of fuel economy, you know, driving this off-road edition. So tires, the TRD Off-Road comes with 16-inch rims, which allows you to put a nice tire on there with a grippy sidewall, which is exactly what you want if you're going off-road. You know, if you have 20-inch rims with thin sidewalls, you're not going to get much sidewall bite, and it's really not going to be the best for an off-road situation, whereas a smaller rim is exactly what you want. Obviously, these tires do not come from factory. These are some Wrangler Duratrax. The tires you do get are Goodyear Wrangler Adventure tires. I'll put a picture up here. And they do come with Kevlar sidewalls. I mean, they're okay. Obviously, they're grippier than, you know, the standard factory tire, but I wouldn't necessarily call them an off-road ready tire. They will give you a little bit more grip, but if you are actually planning on doing some off-road stuff, I would highly look into upgrading your tires, which my buddy did. So I guess besides the plastic skid plates, which are absolutely useless, the other thing I really don't like about this truck is the ability to have the 6-foot bed. Now, my buddy, the owner, he said to mention this because he does not like this bed. This is a tiny bed. You can't really fit much in here. It's kind of just, as he says, here for show. I mean, obviously you can fit stuff in here, but you get what I mean. You can't really fit any pieces of wood. Like, it's not that practical. To have a 6-foot bed would be much more practical. However, with the TRD off-road package, it is very rare to have an extended wheelbase. Normally you always get the shorter wheelbase, and when he bought this truck, he said that up in Canada, the dealers cannot get a longer wheelbase TRD off-road truck. So you kind of have to get the shorter wheelbase. What does that mean? Well, like I said, it means you have to get the shorter bed, or you can get the longer bed. However, you're gonna have a 2-door truck. So you kind of have to pick and choose. Now, in Toyota's defense, they claim that the shorter wheelbase allows the turning radius to be much smaller and for the truck to be much more agile and nimble on the trails, which, I mean, I can't argue with. That's probably true. In fact, it is true. It would be nice to give the customer the option if that's what they wanted. So let's jump inside the truck and I'll show you the really cool off-road electronic controls that this Tacoma has. Okay, so obviously we have 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive high, 4-wheel drive low, pretty standard. But what's not standard on all the 4-wheel drive trucks is this whole situation here. This is your multi-terrain select. So you have mud, snow, rock, sand, which is kind of cool. And then what I like is this crawl option. So basically it's a very slow cruise control. And what this means is you can have very good wheel control off-road. Now, when I was underneath there, I did mention the open front differential and how maybe it's not necessarily completely open. I know Toyota is very good with their active traction control. I believe it's ATC. Yes, ATC. And what that does is it actually will forcefully brake wheels that are spinning and force power to the other wheel without having an actual mechanical locker, which is pretty cool. So I think that's what's going on up front here. Obviously the rear, like I mentioned, does have an actual true mechanical locker. So when you are in 4-wheel drive crawl, you have to be in low, and it's just gonna slowly just kind of move these wheels and hopefully get you out of anything that you're in. Now, in terms of the multi-terrain select, the owner, my friend, he says that it's pretty much completely useless. He's never used it, and he does take this truck off-road quite a bit. He's a hunter. He's always, you know, in the bush, and he says it's kind of a waste of time. His opinion, he's the owner, he daily drives it, I don't, so I'm gonna take his word for it. The last interesting electronic aid is the hill assist. So basically, you know, if you're off-road and you're on a very steep hill and you take your foot off the brake, the truck will not roll backwards. It'll stay right where it is until you're on the throttle, which is a cool feature to have. All right, guys, I know I said we'd take this thing off-road. I actually did already take it off-road during the day here, and it was pretty awesome. However, I think what I'll do is I'll make that into a separate video. So what are my opinions on this Toyota Tacoma? Well, I secretly kind of have a soft spot for these trucks. I really do like them. I think they're easily the best mid-size truck option out there. You know, you're competing against the GMC and the Chevys, as well as the new Ford Ranger, which I've heard good things about. But I still think this is the king. You know, these trucks are strong, they're tough, they're reliable, they tend to last forever, and they do hold their value very strongly. Now, speaking of price, it is important to note that these trucks can be quite pricey for a mid-sized truck. Often you can find a full-size, you know, American 1500 for cheaper than one of these. But I still think this truck is very nifty. I mean, it looks awesome, and it is very good off-road, as you guys will see in my next video here. Usually, you know, all I talk about is Ram content and kind of go off from there, but I thought I would bring this Toyota Tacoma in and see how you guys like it. Let me know what you think, and I'm pretty excited to show you guys the off-road footage for this truck. It did very well, much better than I expected, so look forward to that. Should be a good video. Anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap up the video. Another Wednesday night shop talk in the bank. I hope you guys enjoyed me kind of going over this Tacoma and showing you guys, you know, the off-road componentry. But as always, if you like the video, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. And if you like cool stuff like this, don't forget to subscribe. Enough of me. We'll see you in the next freaking video.